We were somewhere around the edge of the desert when we heard the strange droning noise above our heads. Staring up into the sky, we saw a long silver contrail and a little dot. Suddenly, this happened. No, just kidding. But today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at collateral damage. And what I've decided to do is I took a couple minutes and I built myself a neighborhood. Now, you're probably going, oh, you're a terrible person. You should never use this. I'm like, it doesn't have to be a neighborhood. It could be just a bunch of wood buildings that we're testing. But what I did is I carefully got out my little tape measure and made sure each building was the correct distance apart. And I even took a runway that I'm simulating as a street. You know, I put a convenient little school. You got some power lines kind of come around the back. And what I was most curious about is how carefully modeled collateral damage is simulated inside of Command. So here's what we did. So I've got myself my good old BUFF up here. Oh, this is actually B52. This is an H. No. That's not right. I'm sorry. That can't be right at all. I'm sorry. The correct B52 is the B52D. Now, you're probably saying it doesn't really matter that much. In my opinion, it does, because the B52 is, I don't know, it's cooler. Again, you're like, you can disagree all you want, but I don't know, it's just me. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this bomber, and we're going to go ahead and order a manual strike right in the middle of all of this excitement from a bit of an oblique angle here. We have 108 50-pound, 500-pound bombs here, and I'm going to go ahead and allocate all weapons to the target. Go ahead and unpause and create some crimes against humanity here. So this thing's just going to kind of go sailing. It's going to get itself all nice and lined up. Stepping up, we're going to be doing a nice high-altitude bombing operation here. Again, this is not going to be the most precise attack, I don't think, anyway. We're not using a B2 for this, and we're certainly not using an F-22 or anything like that. And we're just going to see how much collateral damage is created here. And then we'll come back, and we'll probably play with it just a teeny tiny bit. And there they go. This is so mean. All right, B-52, you're done. Goodbye, Slim Pickens. All right, so the B-52 has dropped its stack of 108 500-pound bombs on this unsuspecting series of, quote, small buildings. Now, remember, my aim point was actually right here in the middle, and what I'm most curious to do is to see if I hit it at this nice oblique, just how much damage is it going to or not going to cause. Actually going to pause real quickly. Actually, no, we'll be fine. We'll go ahead and let this run, and let's see what happens here. Again, our target point was right there in the middle, and this happened. Well, that is one way of saying hello there. So remember, we targeted the one in the center, so now we're going to quickly inspect to see what happened on the other side here. Okay, so let's see. Our power lines, every single one of the transmission lines were damaged. Everybody within, I believe my target point there, that looks like, we'll call that 61 meters of the impact site, were hit pretty hard. And meanwhile, we have a school across the street here, which looks like it's a hit. Is it on fire? No, it is not on fire. Our water tower is probably going right now and now pouring water all over the street. Our street is completely unaffected, which I thought was actually kind of interesting here. And you can see it was absolutely positively, unbelievably damaging. So obviously, it was pretty effective. So you can see collateral damage is very, very, very well modeled. Now, the real question is there a way we can utilize this in order to be tactically clever? Well, the answer is probably. So let's test that out. So what I did is I have my favorite little F-16 here. One of these days, the Air Force is going to loan me one because I advertised it so much. But basically what we have is we have a very similar situation. I've got myself an aim point here in the middle. This is a building small. This is the same distance we had earlier. We also have another building small here with the same distance as you can kind of see over on this side of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my handy dandy little F-16 here, and I'm going to order it to launch a JDAM at the one in the middle. And I'm going to ask the JDAM to attack the one in the middle as well. Oh, I hate it when it does that. I swear, just for giggles, it just changes things on me. But that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and unpause here. I'll let my little F-16 buddy take a few moments. Well, he's going to take about 12 seconds to line that all up. So I'll make him do a little zigzag. I'll drop him down to loiter speed. He's going to feather the speed brakes just a little bit to kind of get ready. Lining himself up here. All right, do not disappoint me. And whatever you do not dud. So there's our first launch. There's our second launch. And he exits the combat zone. He probably signed off the game there. So let's see what happens here. So with the first JDAM, again, these are Mark 82s. This is nothing sophisticated. I'm not using Mark 84s for this. I was thinking about using Mark 84s, but I'm like, let's see what happens with just a really, really well-aimed Mark 82 here. All right, let's see here. He's coming in. We'll speed up time just a little bit here. Swinging. I know exactly what you're thinking, and I think you'll be surprised. Let's see what happens here. So this one, and he's going to land right in the middle. Kabam! Destroys all 4 buildings, even though, pause, they were a distance of 109 meters apart. This one's going to come down here in the middle. Kaboom! And it explodes. Now, I know you're all sitting there going, What? I just did. What was that? Now that is a classic example of when things get a little interesting. If you actually watch really, really closely, you can see that the last bit of that blast is just kind of finished off. So let's go ahead and switch to the other side real quick. We'll go to red, and you can see that we dropped the bomb in the dead center here, and it did 0 damage to everything around it. You can also see the one that we dropped at a longer distance did quite a bit of damage to everybody. It actually completely annihilated all the targets around it. Now, this is just one of those, I call it like a commandism here. Now, unfortunately, there is no difference here as far as altitude, so that was not what caused it. And as a matter of fact, I'm not 100% sure because I was really expecting there to be some kind of altitude difference that would cause that to happen. So now I'm like, I don't know. I think I've just discovered something in command that's not supposed to be there. So that means I got to test it again. One thing I did notice, though, and I don't know if you noticed it, but the trajectory of the bomb on the left was significantly shorter than the bomb that was on the right. So I don't know. I'm sorry. I was really not expecting that. So let's go ahead and load it back up here. This is what happens when you test things. They turn out to work differently when you test them later. On the flip side, of course, the bomb could have been a nice little dud for us, too. So that most likely is what happened, with the exception of the fact it completely annihilated the middle building. So I've got a lot of questions now. I've got a lot of questions, but sometimes this happens. I'm sure the lead developer is watching this one and going, Don't worry, I'll give you the save game if you ask. All right, I just need him to acquire that mystery third building in the middle. Acquire, sir. Acquire, sir. Acquire the building in the center. This is one of the fun things about when you put things on automatic detection is you'll run into a scenario where it doesn't quickly auto-detect. It has to basically complete its entire look-around cycle in order to safely actually detect something. But like I said, that was interesting. And now, I don't know, I've got a bit of a puzzler here because the terrain is, let's see, barren, sparsely vegetated. So it should be a pretty... Oh, there it is. All right. Let's try this again because now, like I said, I'm interesting. Maybe it had something to do with the trajectory of the bomb. Maybe the second one released at a steeper angle, and maybe the first one didn't. That would be the first guess I would have, because if you drop it kind of a flat, shallow angle, you can hit everything behind it, not everything on it. If you drop it steep, it tends to blast out. But we'll replicate the experiment and see what happens. That is so interesting. You probably just heard me scratch my head there because I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss because okay, so that did clearly do a significant amount of damage to the things around it, but it didn't necessarily act as the kill shot there. So okay, this became a thing now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it in the corner and see what happens here. I love how you can do these over the shoulder shots with an F-16. I just think that's absolutely ridiculous. All right, so here comes the JDAM for the third time. These little, what can I say? They must be dug in or something like that. And I'll go ahead and drop this sucker right down there. Let's see what happens. Interesting. That was interesting. All right, so for this video, the one thing we did see is that there is a significant amount of collateral damage that is generated when you drop weapons. One of the things you want to do is you want to try to optimize your pattern of collateral damage if you're trying to kind of saturate a target. The other thing we saw when we saw the B-52 is because you dropped 108 bombs, the scatter looked like a shotgun blast, which created an amazing effect on the target because I aimed at the center target. But other than that, this is interesting. Enjoy.